Hi, good day everyone. Welcome to PF Performance with Charles. Today I'm just doing a small analysis on how I normally approach matches when it comes to opponents that are position orientated, opponents that likes to soak in the opposition and then penetrate through the middle by either overloading in the midfield or overloading on the flanks, forcing opponents to shift and then playing intricate passes towards the final third. So one thing I picked up when facing these opponents is that patience is very important. You need to teach your players to have the patience to allow play. I know sometimes players get eager to go and close down because they feel they can actually get the ball off, but that's where the mistakes come in. When you become impatient, that's where these teams actually thrive on. The more you show patience, the more you show the belief that you don't worry or you are unfazed by not having the ball 60-70% of the time of the game. Um, you're okay with settling for counter-attacking style as you know that the caliber of players in your team are good for a counter-attacking play in the game that they find themselves in rather than going for a pound-for-pound game where um, your system might be broken. So there's nothing wrong with setting up for a counter-attacking system against these ball or possession-orientated teams. Um, so let's get into it. As you can see on the screen, we have a 4-3-3 formation for both sides. And this the trigger here will be the pass from the goalkeeper to the centre back. Now, what these teams do very well is that they train the centre backs to have the composure, the patience to hold play, allow teammates to move into spaces before releasing and not just getting it and playing to anyone that's in front of them. They're very good at what they do, um, or the work they put into these centre backs. So you need to be smart on how you close them down because what I often find some teams do is they will, as soon as the ball gets played, they will shout press, and then you will see the winger coming for the centre back. Not realizing that the winger came in, there's no backup for that winger to close down the centre mid. So now you have two players on either side of the winger that can receive a pass, and not mentioning the centre back who has the ability to beat that first line of pressure or that winger coming onto him. So it's all about the timing. Like I said, it's all about the patience behind everything you do against these teams, right? So my instruction will normally be to the two wingers not to engage into the press, not yet at least, and allow us to double up on the CDM. That is my problem. The CDM is the problem in my perspective. So we look to double up on the CDM, and we do that by having our attacking mid and our striker standing on the CDM first, irrespective if the centre mid is on this side, right? We still double up on the CDM. Whether he is that side as well, we still double up on the CDM because when you double up on the CDM and one of those players vacate that space, you still have a man on that CDM because these teams they thrive on the CDM. Okay, so you make sure that you double up on the CDM. While doing that, your your front three needs to be compact as well, unless obviously if you find yourself in a position where the number 8 opens up a field, he doesn't have to stand on him, just stand in the space ready to engage into the press. Okay, so in our situation, right, we are going to force the play to the left. So ball gets played to the centre back. He takes the touch forward. He carries. As he's carrying the ball, does left back they normally push him upfield, right? Because I think one of the rule of thumb in football is your teammate carrying the ball forward, you shouldn't be coming to collect it if there's no pressure on him. If there's no pressure on him, allow him to carry the ball forward, and you just move upfield to create a numerical superiority on the top of the field. So, see the centre back is carrying the ball into the space. This left back will push up. This also will indicate that the centre mid needs to push up in a more advanced position. In doing so, I allow our winger to cover that space between the centre mid and the left back, so that if the pass goes to either one, he can then jump. While we do that, while they push up and the centre back is carrying the ball, we then push our striker to come and close down the centre back with speed, with aggression, with authority as he approaches the centre back to show that he's fearless, he is confident that he's going to win the ball, or confident that the team is going to win the ball. So as he comes in, doesn't come in a straight line. We always look to cover the left side. So we want to force play on their left and cover our left side, meaning their right side, obviously, for the back pass. As a striker does that, sentiment, obviously, like attacking mid, as I said, he will cover the CDM. Okay, so the only option we give the centre back is for him to play the left back, because a pass to the vertical pass to the centre mid will then be close, because we allow our wing players to cover more the central area and allow play wide so that we can go and close down. So let's say the pass goes out to the left back, but now as that pass goes in, we get tight onto their left forward. Defender shoved over. Does in turn what I picked up, and this is also something that happens quite often as well. And that's where the understanding of position and space in your team is very important. As the left back receives this pass, it already indicates to the centre to push up a little up into the half space, into an advanced half space in the mid third. We push right forward. Our right forward does not go to the centre mid, and this is because we don't want to give the left back space to carry the ball towards us. You understand? So as soon as that pass goes in there, it's a trigger for us to push the centre mid onto their centre mid, push the right forward onto the left back, and the loose CDM covers the attacking midfielder, because you will find that the attacking midfielder will then vacate the space and open up on the other side, right? And I'm sure you're starting to see what they are going to form now. Because once he does that, the forward will obviously look for that run maybe in behind the centre back. Um, but the answer we have for that is having one centre back onto him, and we have then the loose centre back on the other side. Does in turn give space for the CDM to come and form an option, or give an option to the fullback, as he's not allowed to turn, and the right back then starts inverting to form a box midfield. Now, to make sure that we don't get outnumbered in the midfield, and this is where our front three plays a pivotal role when it comes to a controlled pressing system. When the right back inverts to form a box midfield, we push our one of our forwards, our left forward or right forward, to that right back, so that we close the space. We close every man in the midfield, in the middle of the park. Okay, no free man. That's the rule, basically. So this then in turn gives our striker the chance to close down the pass back to the centre back, and then it becomes a matter of how good your players are in the 1v1 battle. So I will even go as far as to say you need to train your 1v1 battles as often as possible, because against these top teams you will be challenged, and your team will be challenged as to how they deal with 1v1 battles. So yeah, so that's how we find ourselves in a situation where, even though there's a box midfield, we still have players ready to jump in when possible. Okay, because let's say the centre back will then initially open up here to allow space, to create space for himself, first of all, and second of all, to force the striker to close him down so that the space can open up for a pass to the goalkeeper or to the opposite centre back. Right. So what we do is, since it's already an aggressive press from the right forward, and we suspect this pass to come to the centre back, as the striker moves up as the centre back moves up to make an option, our striker will move with him, but not go standing on him, but standing in the space close to him, close enough that if the pass does go back, we are ready to reset. Because pass goes back, he's ready to reset and then cover outside the box and letting everyone else shape up, basically, because this pass to the goalkeeper will then turn quick and go to that centre back, and that's where our attacking midfielder will then now jump onto the centre back, because the game is on, basically jump onto the centre back, pushing either the striker to cover the CDM. So either the striker to cover the CDM or the right forward to cover the CDM, right? But because of the space between the CDM and the right forward, because as this center attacking mid goes to close down aggressively to the center back, the CDM will then make a quick option in behind, right? He will make a quick option in behind, and that can be very difficult to deal with. So you can decide how you want your players, which player to close him down, um, because you will see that your sentiment and your CDM will be pinned by these two guys. Okay, they will definitely be pinned by these two guys. Now, what I normally do is, since if he does make an option, a quick option to receive, it will depend in on how our attacking midfielder closes this right centre back. As the pass goes in there, we need to close him down in a way that he doesn't find an easy pass to the CDM. And we need to close him down in a way that we place the pass, most of our players are there. Right? So closing him down will then be mostly, we will then close him down in the sense that we're coming from this way, okay, from his right and closing it down instead of coming straight or coming from his left. Because if we close him down from the right side, right, as we close him from the right, he needs to bring the ball more to the left. And by the time he's doing that, our right forward will then be closing down there. And if not the right forward, our centre mid will jump on him, right forward will jump on the centre mid, and the striker can then be closing up in that space there. Okay, so yeah, yeah, it's something that your team has to be technically or tactically good at, but it takes quite a lot of practice for the rotation because these rotations happen very quick and the transition and the intricate passes are quite accurate. So the most important thing you need to teach your players obviously is the patience and then work on their 1v1 battles. And yeah, so that's basically how I would set up against these academies. If I'm okay with playing the counter-attacking football, um, given the competitiveness or the nature at which we find ourselves in the tournament. For example, if it is a quarterfinals or semifinals where players have played so many games, I don't see it as a necessity to go pound for pound. I'll be okay with sitting back and then pushing for the last 15 to 10 minutes for a goal.